Buck Holly with C&H Precision Weapons, Richmond Hill, Georgia. So you want to be a more proficient shooter on the long range. You want to outshoot your friends. You want to perform better at 1 and 2 day matches. Well, I don't have any secrets that are going to help you do it, but I have some basic elements that I think if you follow these or you put some of these into place, it will drastically help you in your pursuit of being a better long-range shooter, a better hunter, and just general overall fun. So I'm going to cover these 5 very briefly, very quickly, and then in the rest of the video, I'll cover each one of them in depth while on the range or in the back of the shop or somewhere. So, number 1, rifle setup. Do you have a good rifle? Do you have a good scope? Do you have quality ammo? A good trigger and a good chassis with a bipod? If all of those things are good, better than adequate, you can shoot at a very high level. You do not need a $10,000 rifle, a $5,000 scope, and custom hand-loaded ammo. You can go with factory ammo, a good rifle, a good scope, a good bipod, and you can be competitive. We'll talk about that in a minute. Ballistics and truing. This is the ammo part of it, the ammo in conjunction with your rifle. You need to be able to accurately predict where your bullet is going to impact a target at 1 yard increments from 50 yards all the way out to the maximum distance that you will probably shoot, which is somewhere usually in the 1,000 to 1,200 yard range. You need to be able to true your ammo and your rifle so that you know that at 542 yards, it's X number of mils, and within an inch above or inch or below the watermark, that's where your bullet's gonna impact. Reading wind is a different story. Gear. Oh my goodness, there is a bunch of gear out there. There's tripods, there's bipods, there's bags, there's fat bags, little bags, big bags, little bag. Oh my goodness, there's so much gear out there. Having done this for a while, I have a whole box full of stuff that's not used anymore. I bought it because I thought it was cool. Somebody gave it to me. It's unnecessary, unneeded. You use it once, you don't like it. It all boils down to a few things, and if you watch the really good shooters, they typically shoot a match with 2 bags and a rifle and a backpack. That's it. And a tripod. Wind and Mirage. This is the black magic and the voodoo. You need to be able to spend time on the range and watch how your bullet is affected by a little bit of Mirage, a little bit of wind, a little bit of Mirage and some wind, and in a non-wind condition. That takes time, it takes experience, but it's not real hard. I have some tips for you. Last, positional shooting, okay? Everybody can lay down on their belly and shoot prone or shoot off a bench. But if you're gonna do some match shooting, the style of shooting that's in the PRS and the NRL, you have to practice shooting from various different positions with various different bags, because your days of laying down on your belly and shooting prone all day are over if you're gonna be competitive in the PRS, the NRL, and some of these other disciplines. So you need to get the right gear, the bags, you need to practice shooting off various different positions, and you need to be proficient at it. So stay tuned. So what we're going to cover now is rifle setup. Rifle setup is very, very critical and very, very important. It is actually something that most people pay a lot of attention to, because this is your ego. This is what people see when you go to the range. So lots of people spend a lot of money on their rifle setup, but they don't always spend their money wisely or configure it correctly, or maybe not correctly, but optimally. So when you come to one of our courses, we go through you and your rifle setup in complete detail and make subtle suggestions on how you could possibly change your configuration or update your configuration to optimize what you're doing. So for example, you come with a hunting rifle. That's fine, you can shoot a match with a hunting rifle, but it's a 12-pound gun, it's got a little carbon fiber barrel, it's got a silencer, and it will work. But it has a hinged floor plate. So you're gonna be at a disadvantage already, because it's nice to be able to use a box mag where you can change your mags, you can feed it 10 or 12 or 13 rounds. 2, a light gun. Typically a lot of these hunting rifles, you'll get behind the gun, boom, it'll go off and it'll jump to the right or jump to the left, depending on if you're right-handed or left-handed. You have to pick it up, move it back. By the time you get back on target, your trace, obviously you didn't see your trace, you didn't spot your impact, and you didn't see your miss, and it's very difficult to make a correction. So when we go through your gun with you, we start at the front end. Should you be running a brake or a silencer? There are certain caliber choices that I think are optimized for brakes and silencer. Barrel length and barrel contour. Barrel length is going to determine your velocity. Barrel contour is going to affect the overall weight. Your stock or your chassis system, is it optimal for what you're going to do? This is a prototype MDT that's got Arca Swiss for 24 inches, and just like that I can move the bipod without it falling off. That's a great feature for some of the disciplines that I personally shoot. It's got an adjustable cheek piece and adjustable length of pull. Those are important because all different optics these days have different size objectives. You know, this has got a 34mm objective, which means it's tall, which means you need tall rings. Once you put a tall optic and tall rings on here, you need to be able to push this up so you're not doing this number and your chin's wobbling off of the buttstock. Accessories. You got a little data card holder. Those are great for putting your data in there. A little 2-round shell holder here. Those are great for hiding a couple extra rounds in case your mag blows up or you need a couple. So when you come, we go through with you and your rifle and we look for areas that could be improved or added to benefit your style of shooting, your discipline. Things that will make you a better shooter or more successful. Because really what I want you to do at the end of the day or at the end of one of our courses is either shoot this rifle or a rifle like this, or get you to the point where yours is set up so when you shoot you can watch the vapor trail. That's great, that's optimal. If you don't see the vapor trail, I want you to be able to watch on the target where your bullet hits on the target so you can make a correction. And worst case scenario, if you miss the target left, right, high, or low, I want you to be able to spot the impact in the dirt if there is a berm behind it. And I want you to say, ooh, I just missed off the right edge. I need to hold left edge. If your gun is not optimally set up with, and it doesn't have a brake or it's not heavy enough, those things are going to be difficult to see and make corrections for. So, come to the course, I or one of the instructors will go through with you your rifle and make suggestions and see what we can do to make you a better shooter. Boom. So part of ballistic truing is obviously truing your ballistic. So here we have a target at 850 yards. 500, 600 is a little bit too short. 850 seems to be a really a good medium range distance to make sure you're on target and your wind calls are good before you push it out to 11 or 1200 yards. So as you can see, 2 shots at 850, I'm pretty happy. Now a little hint, tie a little piece of construction tape, or whatever this stuff is called, this is a little ribbon, tie it to the bottom of your T-post so when you're out here practicing you can get a little bit of a wind call and see what the wind's doing, so it doesn't take you all day to get on target, and it helps you be a better wind reader. Now let's move out to 1200 or 1142. Okay, we just moved back from 850. We've already shot this, but I just drove over here from the 850 yard. We're now at 1142. If I had a longer range, I would shoot this further, but I'm limited to 1142 yards based on this range. And it's a really good range for the caliber that I shoot, and I'm shooting today, which is a .308 Winchester. So, as you can see, I got a 4-shot group. 1's on the watermark, 3 are a little bit high. So what that tells me is that the center of this group is probably right about here, which would be about 1/10 of a mil high. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to input a correction into my Ballistic Solver, and that will bring this group down a little bit. So I got a little extra speed today, or I just switched batches of powder, a new lot of bullets, same primers. So all of that, all of those factors will contribute to this group moving up and down, and I suggest that you do this with every batch of ammo. What you can't see is we're out here at 6:30 in the morning. There's no harsh light. It's actually gray and overcast, which is perfect, which means there's no mirage. That's very important. There's no mirage. No bright light, no mirage. And because it's early in the morning here today, there's very little or no wind. So this is the best time to don't try and do this at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when the mirage is boiling up off the ground. It will seriously screw up your ballistic solver. A little hint, you're out here, you know, I'm out here and it feels like there's absolutely no wind. It's a perfect condition. Like I'm gonna go back there and shoot this straight up, no right hold. Now I was actually favoring left because in my gun I've got some spin drift in it. And you'll notice I didn't adjust my hold because I want to see how well my gun is grouping, just repeating the same hold. So I know I'm on the plate. I'm just going to I was favoring left, just keep stacking them up there just for my own edification. Now, back to my hint. You're out here on the range and you're like, there's no wind. This is a perfect wind condition. Well, guess what? Spray paint's your friend. Not only does it paint the target, but this will give you a subtle hint if there's a little bit of air moving that doesn't feel like wind. So, now I don't know if you can see that, but all of this extra spray paint is moving that way. That might explain a little bit of why I was holding here. I expected to impact, when I was favoring left, I was expecting to hit about here, but my group actually centered up over here. So when you're out spray painting your target, pay attention to where the spray paint goes, because that'll give you a little hint that there is no wind, but there is some air moving. Well, now it's going that way. So actually, once it got behind the target, it started going that way. So there's your hint for the day. Ballistic truing, it's your friend. Do it, or you could miss at very long ranges. Now we're back at the shooting position. I'm going to go through a couple of the more popular multi-purpose bags that a lot of the shooters here in the Southeast, actually across the US, but these are the most common bags that are used by shooters. The first bag is the fortune cookie. You can see it looks like a fortune cookie. It's kind of a U-shaped. This, if I had to only pick one bag only, this would be it. Why? Because you can drape it over things and you can shoot off of poles or fences or rocks. I use it, here's my other fortune cookie. I use it as a rear bag. It's multiple positions. You can put the buttstock in the crack. You can flip it up for a little bit higher. You can flip it up on this side for an even higher. It's got a couple handles. The fortune cookie is a fantastic multi-purpose bag for shooting off barricades. Rear bag, putting it on something. Shooting off of a barricade. Fantastic bag. Now, if you have room to tote around a few other bags, another one that I highly encourage looking at is the mini fortune cookie. It's half the size, half the weight, and it's fantastic for if you want to carry multiple bags. It's fantastic for when you got a very small shooting window or a hole, or if you like it as just a pure dedicated rear bag. Again, another multi-purpose bag. If you can withstand 2 extra pounds, put one of these on your backpack. This is the pump pillow. All these bags are made by WeBad. They are a team sponsor of the C&H Precision Weapons Boom Squad. So the pump pillow is a pretty large bag. We use it for filling voids. You know, people put it all over the place. Now you'll see mine's got this extra strap on it. I'll tell you why. This is called the Bandolero. This was something that I helped, this is actually the first prototype. It's something that I helped create. And you'll see a lot of people that will wear them hanging down here. So they'll get up to a shooting position, they'll get kind of set, and they'll reach down here and pull it up and go to start shooting. They'll change positions, it'll fall away again, they'll move over to here, they gotta reach down, pull it up, I believe that you're wasting valuable time. And a couple of us started using 550 cord to tie it around our chest. So I asked the guys at Weebad, can you make me a bandolero? So what I do, I simply hook it on here and I leave it right here. I'll tighten it up a little bit. It's out of the way. It's right where I need it. So if I'm shooting in some odd position where I can't use, for example, you can't use a bipod, and I'm using a fortune cookie up front, which sure would be nice to have something back here, right? So, there's my bag. Okay, boom. Get up and move positions. It's right here. I don't have to reach down here and grab it. It's always right here where I need it most. Sometimes I will find a need where I will attach my mini fortune cookie to my pump pillow or to my bandolero when I want multiple options on a stage. So sometimes I'll shoot a stage just like this. This will be my rear bag. When I know I'm going to be shooting up more and I need less rear bag, I'll take just the little one and I'll clip it right here, and then when I get to a position where I need a little bit extra, sling it around, and now I've got, so it looks a little odd, but everything's right here in my workspace. I don't have to reach down here and pull it up and trip over it when I'm running. The last bag that we use a lot is called the tack pad, and you'll see it's a little bit thinner. It's the same size and shape. It's about 9 inches by 7 inches by 3 inches thick. This one's about 9 by 7 by 6 inches thick. This is just another multi-purpose bag that I carry around because it's super lightweight. It's got very lightweight fill. It probably weighs 1/4 pound. I stuff it on my bag, and I'm either using it as a pillow or I'm using it in some stage where I need a bag that is thinner and wider. It's got straps on it. You can put your gun through it. So these are the 4 bags that I go to every match with. I could pare it down, and often I do. Often I can shoot a match with just a single fortune cookie and a pump pillow. But because I have them and I drag them around, I have a tendency to drag all of them. But if I had to whittle it down to 2, these 2 would be the ones. You can order them through us, or you can go to Weebad.com and you can order yours. All right, I'm here with my my best buddy in the whole world,
the midget Noah Holly.
That's right. So we're gonna go through some gear that we have. We've pared it all down to this. We have all this. It doesn't mean we carry it at every match. So we'll go through it one by one really quickly. Number 1, the scope caddy. Put this over your rifle, over your optic, wraps around your gun, and what do we use this for?
Keeping dirt, dust, sand, rain, any materials that are yucky
out of your optic and out of your action. So this is called the scope caddy, and it's made by
Weebad.
Yeah, that's right. A shooting mat. We seldom carry it, but it's always nice to have it when you shoot that first 100-yard paper stage on a match and the grass is wet. It's kind of nice to have a nice small package shooting mat. A sling. I seldom, if ever, use a sling. I always carry one in case there's some stage that I need one. I typically use it most often to strap to my gun to carry it from stage to stage. Then, the most popular bag that we have is the
fortune cookie.
And the fortune cookie, I could shoot an entire match. If I had to pare everything down to one bag, this would be it. The fortune cookie can be used on barricades. You see a little fortune cookie shape there. You can use it as a rear bag, a front bag, a support bag, you name it. The fortune cookie is the #1 bag that we use. And then we have the
midget fortune cookie.
Well, it's the mini fortune cookie.
Yes, and it's
Says
also
the midget.
Yes, and these two bags are made from eBay, and these two bags, you can see, they both have these little straps here, so it's easier that you can carry them like this or like this, and you don't have to carry them like this the whole time, because then your hand can get red, so you can hold it like this.
That's right. So then we have the tack pad and the pump pillow. These are fantastic positional bags that you use to fill space, or you put on certain barricades to give yourself a little bit of extra height. I personally most often use the pump pillow, and Weebad was kind enough to make me a custom strap that I strap around here. So the bag is always in my work area. It's out of my work area. It's not dangling down here, getting wrapped up in my feet. It's always right here. I use this most often. If I had to pare all my bags down, it would be a fortune cookie and a pump pillow on a bandolero. Next, you have to have some type of a feeding device, a magazine that holds at least 10 rounds and some bottom metal, or more than 10 rounds, preferably 12 or 13. Last but not least, I highly recommend a quality pair of active hearing protection, so you can hear commands from the RO, you can hear what's going on around you. A good pair of active hearing protection, A, to protect your hearing, and B, so you can hear what's going on. That is a rundown on the gear selection that we most commonly use. You got anything to add there, the midget?
Well, there's some stuff about the gun.
Well, we'll talk about the gun in another episode. Boom.
And then there's one more thing. When you open this up,
We're not going to show them what's inside here. Say goodbye.
the ear protection has like
They don't need to know about the ear protection. Say goodbye.
goodbye.
Boom.
Boom chakalaka boom.
Mirage, wind, and interpreting the both of them to help you figure out what you need to apply for a hold to hit targets at long range. So, do you know what Mirage is? It's like when the sun's radiation, heat waves heat up the ground, and the heat radiates up. It's heat coming off the ground. You look down a long black highway in the summer, and it starts to get all foggy because that's heat. That's Mirage, okay? You ever shoot a bunch of rounds through your barrel and your optic starts to get fuzzy? That's Mirage coming off your barrel up through your optic. So you got to learn to be able to use those. We have tips and tricks that will enable you to use Mirage if there's not a lot of wind. And if there is a bunch of wind, we'll teach you how to judge the wind from here, midway, and at the target to allow you to make the proper corrections to your ballistic hold to allow you to hit those targets. And if you don't make the right guess, then obviously you got to make a correction. So there's tips, there's tricks. You got to be able to know what the shooter in front of you is doing. You got to know the proper questions to ask him. What are you going to do? How did it work? How's it going to work for me? You know, there's all these variables that maybe he's shooting a different caliber than I am. So his wind call might not be the same as mine. Mine, for example, I shoot a 308 right this second, and at 1,000 yards on a calm day with no wind, no nothing, my gun, due to spin drift, has 3 to 4, it's actually 4/10 right on a target. So if the wind is blowing from right to left and I shoot a target, and if it's like a 1 or a 2 mile an hour wind and it pushes me to the center of the plate, if I come off of a stage and they said, well, how did you do? Oh, I got a 8 out of 10. What'd you do for wind? I held straight up. Well, if that next dude is shooting a 6mm or 6.5, and he goes there and tries to shoot straight up, it's very possible that he might miss off the left edge because the wind, he doesn't have as much spin drift, which is pushing his bullet to the right, and the wind that is coming from right going to the left will push his bullet further off the left. So these are little tips and tricks that you need to understand how it affects your bullets and how it gets there. You know, look, the wind just picked up and now it's blowing 2, 3, 4 miles an hour. You need to be able to feel this when you're shooting. So when I started this video a minute and a half, 2 minutes ago, the tree wasn't moving, so I could have been up there shooting, bang, 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 in the middle of the stage, shot 5, shot 6. If I start to feel this wind, I have to think about that. What is that wind doing to my bullet downrange? And make a correction on the fly. Don't wait for a miss to have to make a correction. Try and make one in advance so you don't experience a miss. So wind and Mirage, two of the very hardest variables to master in precision rifle shooting, but we can help you get there. Boom. All right, positional shooting. What's so hard about positional shooting? People don't practice enough. People don't think outside the box and find some weird stuff to shoot off of. So find some odd stuff to shoot off of at your range. Do it under time, switch positions, and that's a key, is switch positions. Don't get stuck shooting from one position the whole time. You're not breaking position, you're not changing your routine, you're not really doing yourself any favor. So we've got an 8-inch plate at 508 yards. We're going to do 2 shots from each position. We're going to try and get it done in 90 seconds or less. So here we go. Yeah, this is kind of a goofy one. You got to throw in a goofy stage every once in a while to see how well you're doing or not doing. It's a shipping pipe. There you go. So, what's so hard about positional shooting? Not a whole lot. You got to do it. You got to practice. You got to move. I did it in a minute. I didn't look at it exactly, but it was about a minute 25, minute 28. That would have worked for a stage at a match. So, positional shooting. Bags are important. You need the right bags, the right equipment. Use a fortune cookie on almost everything. A pump pillow, a tack pad. Figure out what works for you. Play with the different positions. Not under a lot of time or a lot of distress. Play with each position. See how it feels, what you're going to do. Because you will run into a position just like this in the future. You're like, oh, I remember that day. It worked really good. Rotate this thing and try it again because it's a completely different feel. The pipes, once you get on top of a pipe like that with the right bag, it's like shooting prone. Top of a barrel, same thing. Get on that bag, tighten it down, scrunch it down. This thing sucks. It's a shipping container. It weighs about 1 pound or 2 pounds. It's wobbly. There's nothing stable about it. Find odd and unique things to practice off of. It will make you a better shooter. And number one, it will boost your confidence that you see some crazy thing, the back of a chair, you're like, I got this. We can do this. So get out there and practice. Positional, bags, routine, under time, get her done. Boom.